I apologize, and you will have to excuse me. I have a bit of a cough. Try to keep that at bay as much as I can during this video. Paige had something. It's not COVID. Sorry. It's not COVID, but whatever she had, I live with her, so of course I got. But I still have somehow the energy to bring you this video. So, the marketplace of ideas. It sucks. It's bad. It's stupid. It exists. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think it plays out the way a lot of liberals who are kind of gullible think it does play out. So the marketplace of ideas, for those of you who don't understand, or those of you who I guess are not, you know, terminally online, the marketplace of ideas is essentially this concept or this idea that there is a marketplace of ideas. And essentially, the best ideas are the ones that are going to come to the surface and are going to come out on top. And it essentially, if you just have a good argument, you can basically sway anybody over to your side. This is, of course, not true. It's not the case. And a lot of liberals don't seem to understand why this inherently works more for the right than it does for basically everyone else. So, in order to understand this, we have to basically go back to the roots, in my opinion at least, the roots of conservatism, or I guess Western modern day conservatism. And Innuendo Studios, fantastic creator, has a video or a series of videos about conservatism and where it originated, how it plays a part in our society today. I highly recommend go watching his video, especially about conservatism or conservatism. And I don't know if it's in that video or another video, but he talks about how one of the key tenets of conservatism is essentially this appeal or this, I guess, idolization of the market. And essentially it boils down to, if the market says it's good, or if it succeeds within the market, then it must be a good thing. But the problem with that is that that's just simply not true. There are let me put it to you this way. So, how many times have you, as a kid or even a grown adult, let's say you're in a store or a corner store or even a supermarket, how many times have you neglected a food item that is objectively better for you or good for you or healthy for you in exchange for something like, say, a Twinkie that is not as healthy for you, but you took and bought that Twinkie and ate it simply because it tastes better than, let's say, an apple or a piece of broccoli, or you know what I mean, essentially, a vegetable or a fruit or something else that is objectively, again, better for your health and better for you. And that's kind of how the marketplace of ideas works in a way. There are many people who are going to reach for, things such as misogyny. They're going to reach for things such as Nazism, even, simply because to them that thing tastes better. It doesn't matter what other idea you set in front of that person, they're still going to reach for that cookie. They're still going to reach for that Twinkie that is essentially Nazism, or that is, misogyny, or insert bad thing here, simply because it tastes better to them. To them, when we look at someone like Andrew Tate, right? And I'm gonna make a video about whether or not men are in crisis, or whether or not we need to take men's issues seriously in the future, maybe in the next couple days, depending on how I'm feeling with my work schedule and the fact that I'm going to be working two jobs from now up until basically the end of the year. So it all depends on my energy levels and what have you. But like, we have people like Andrew Tate and Sneeko and Fresh and Fit, who arise not because necessarily that there is this crisis that men are going through, or because not enough lefties reach out and try to persuade these people. There are a metric ton of videos out there that portray positive masculinity or more positive attributes and traits that people should just adopt in many cases. But the reason why they gravitate towards fresh and foot is a pretty good one, isn't it? Fresh and fit or Sneako or Andrew Tate is because Andrew Tate tells these people tell these people who they want, what they want to hear, essentially. I'm doing this unscripted and I'm doing this unedited. Suck it, deal with it. This is just kind of how I'm flying right now. These people reach for these people, and I'll say it again, reach for these people in their content and their takes because it makes them feel stronger. It makes them feel better. They like what they're preaching to them and the content that they're offering them, not because there isn't another alternative. There, like I said before, there's plenty of other alternatives, but they reach for this one simply because they like the taste of it. They know that what Andrew Tate says is probably unfavorable in the eyes of the average person. They know that these takes are bad or that these takes are wrong. They don't give a shit because, again, it simply makes them feel better. Power and the, I guess, retrieval of it is a very, dare I say, powerful thing that can really lure in a lot of people. And again, these people, I cannot stress it enough, they do not care about the fact that this thing is bad or unfavorable by society. That doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is how it makes them feel. And it makes them feel like they're on top. It's just kind of how it is. They see, and we know that they see the other content that is available to them because they talk about it a lot. Sneako, Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, they talk about the other content. They call the people, especially like the men like myself, or I can't really call myself a man because I'm non-binary, but people like me, they simply for being non-binary, they'll call us soy or beta male or cuck simply because we're saying something that they don't like. You ever notice how in many cases these people, their arguments really don't make any sense, and a lot of their arguments are not grounded in any sort of truth or any sort of reality, and it's literally just bullshit that they, if anything, seems like they've ripped out of a garbage can on the curb and just decided, I'm gonna walk home with this one. I like this one. It doesn't really, none of this stuff ever really makes much sense, does it? It's not grounded. Again, it's not grounded in any sort of fact, truth, reality, none of that. It's incredibly reactionary, but it invokes emotion within these people that again makes them feel superior to other people. And this also, I guess, is how I can segue into, I guess, my take on deplatforming and how basically I feel like it is not a problem within our society. Whenever someone brings up to you censorship, we censor things all the time for everybody, especially kids. And that's one of the main reasons why people like Andrew Tate get axed, because kids start listening to their shit and moms find it out and say, I don't want my kid listening to this. And in many cases, I know there are people that are going to be in the audience and they're going to say, well, you could say the same thing about, the LGBTQ plus community. But there really is not that many moms out there or parents out there that are saying that they don't want their kids to interact with the LGBTQ community. But there are not even just moms, but regular, average, everyday people that can clearly see that this shit is not something that is good to have around and is not something that people should be consuming, because these ideas can go forth to do harm within society. Does that make sense to you guys? And like I said, this is why I agree with the sentiment of deplatforming harmful individuals. Yes, there's going to be people that are going to get more radical and go into, holes and what have you. That's an inevitable. In my opinion, a lot of those people, when you've hit like Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit, you've hit rock bottom, and the only way out basically is essentially your own self, really, and just having a change of heart and just wanting to listen to other people. As a matter of fact, that's the way in which a lot of us became progressive. A lot of us became leftist. We might have gotten a little snippet of info that changed our minds or what have you, or catapulted us into, discovering new things and actually wanting to learn about the way in which the world actually works and systemic inequality and all that jazz. But also, we had to want to accept that. We had to want to accept that knowledge, and we had to want to, you know, grow it ourselves and what have you. And there's a plethora of knowledge out there. Again, a plethora of content that you can watch on basically any mainstream social media platform that basically everybody uses, don't freaking lie, that can teach you these things. There's many books out there that are written by POC, written by women POC, and these books are in all age ranges. You can go to the library to check them out. Hell, you don't even have to go to the library. You can literally just go to, like, if you have a popular branch in your city, which you most likely do, you can go onto their website and go to their database, and you can find a plethora of material that will educate you on this topic. But then we run into a problem, and that problem is that people have to want to be educated. They have to want to change. But again, like what I said about power earlier on in this video, a lot of people don't want to do that. And it's as simple as that. They don't want to give up the power or this false illusion of power because, again, it makes them feel better or makes them feel good about themselves. So, in my opinion, I think our best bet is to deplatform the people with the harmful ideologies and continue to spread our own message and spread our own content. We don't necessarily need to do this in the form of debate for the most part. We can do this simply by ripping out the bad ideology and replacing it with our own good ideologies that just lead to less people being hurt, less people dying from a white supremacist going out and doing a freaking shooting at a predominantly POC in a predominantly POC area in a supermarket or some shit. And you know what? To those people that are probably going to say, well, you know, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, the left is already being deplatformed, or in many cases, not being platformed. And we all know that Tucker Carlson is the biggest or most popular or most watched news anchor pretty much on the freaking planet. And we know the views that he espouses. I'm pretty sure nobody would argue with me when I say that we would objectively be better off without him and others like him being able to continuously spew their propaganda bullshit. So, and even then, like what I was saying earlier about it being a double edged sword, the right is already trying their best to take away our ability and deplatform us and take away our ability to continue to get our messages across and get our messages out there. Right leaning people will mass report lefty content creators in many cases without even necessarily engaging with them and their message, viewpoint, or content. It's literally just a bombardment of hate, calling you beta male, cuck, soy, or whatever other insult that they think is cool and edgy, and then mass reporting your shit and getting it taken down anyway. And there are many of far right people that have been open and honest about the fact that when they seize power, the first thing they're going to do is take us out and especially silence their opposition. And another thing about the marketplace of ideas before I go ahead and go for the night and take my ass to bed because it's far past midnight. The marketplace of ideas innately works, like I said earlier in this video, innately works for the right and is what keeps them relevant because we allow them to continue to spew their ideas. And Innuendo Studios goes over this in a multitude of videos. You might think that you're able to sway a lot of people over to your side, but in many cases, these people are just looking or listening to hear what that talking head, be it Andrew Tate, Tucker Carlson, whoever, Steven Crowder, you name it, these people are just listening to hear that person. They don't care about what you have to say anyway. Hey, it's me. Yeah, you just watched this video and it was amazing. You know it was amazing. And do you know where you can find more amazing content? Why? On Naughty Monty's other platforms. That's right. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, especially Twitter and Twitch. Yes, the two T's. You can find me on those. Please follow me on those platforms. You know you want to. You have to. You are morally obligated to. Because if you don't, I'll Godzilla your fucking Tokyo.